I think the first sign of depression or helplessness was as a child. I think being a kid and not feeling accepted and not feeling like I belonged started a series of hopeless feelings for me. I think just a prolonged, that continued feeling of not feeling like I belong, the continued feeling of not feeling like I had a place in this world. I don't think I ever really called it depression until I used things to deal with it, and then it became too much to handle. I dealt with depression in two different ways. The first was very unhealthy and very significant for me. I used drugs and alcohol to cope, and eventually it became too much to handle, both the sense of hopelessness and the depression combined with drug abuse and alcohol abuse. Lowest point in my depression would have been living on Skid Row, barely living on Skid Row. I did that for 3 years, and I think that was probably the lowest point in my life because I had always heard of Skid Row, and I had always heard of people living on the skids. I didn't actually ever consider myself to be one of those people. I found the inner strength and found the strength to continue on by remembering who I was when I was young, before I felt the first or the slightest bit of rejection. I remembered the dreams that I had as a child. I remembered the hopes and the places that I imagined myself being. And I just took one of those little things, and it gave me the ammunition to get up every day. I wanted to honor the little boy that was inside of myself, the child that grew up believing that he didn't belong. I wanted to honor him by at least giving him a chance and letting him experience, even in the smallest scale, something slight of the dreams that he had. Oh, wow. Well, it's quite a journey going from Skid Row to where I'm at now. Although life is still a struggle in many different ways. I wouldn't say that life is perfect in any way. I just learned how to use my voice, and when people, when I'm upset, I can tell people. I found people that I can connect with and that I can share my hopes and my dreams and my fears with. I think a lot of times for me, being afraid was something that I wasn't supposed to do. So going from Skid Row to where I am now, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm where I want to be, but I'm definitely more comfortable than I ever have been as an adult. I'm comfortable in my skin because I have people around me that I can share my hopes and my dreams. But more importantly than being able to share my hopes and my dreams, I'm able to tell these people my fears, and they're able to tell me theirs. And I think sometimes just putting a voice to the fear takes the fear out of the fear. The advice I could give someone that's at their lowest possible point right now would be, remember who you are. Remember who you were. Try not to focus on the future. Try to be present. I think for me, I've always mourned the future. I never mourned the past. I've always had a lot of, whether they be good or bad memories, I've had a lot of really good times even through the bad. I think the most important thing for me is that I don't mourn the future. See, as human beings, I feel like we tend to mourn what could have been. We tend to mourn the things we had always hoped would be, and that's where we lose hopelessness, because we lose control of the things that we've planned our lives out to be. Try not to plan it out too much. Try to be super present. Don't mourn the future, and have an appreciation for the past. What would I tell someone who is feeling completely alone and suicidal? It's hard to tell somebody not to feel the way that they're feeling. I would tell you that it's only a feeling, and if you just wait 5 minutes, that feeling will change. Change trajectory, change your course in life, and that could be just as significant as turning left instead of turning right that day. Learn how to listen to yourself. sometimes being alone isn't always the worst thing. Sometimes being alone is okay. But if you feel like you're going to do something harmful to yourself or to another person, talk to somebody first.